And we should be live. Let me know if you guys can see me and hear me okay. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope you guys are having a great day. I'm feeling good. I had some coffee, which is not normal for me to kind of get pumped up and ready for today's stream. And after the last stream, I got some foam flooring in, so I'm really excited about that. Let me know if you guys can hear me all right. Yeah, everything should be good to go. The only change I made since last time was Eggy mentioned that there was a little bit of delay between the video of my face and the audio, and so I think I got that corrected, which is good. So if the music's too loud, if anything is off, let me know before we get started. Loud and clear DC says, awesome. How's everybody doing today? I got a pretty cool camera set up for the stream. I just got to be careful because there's a tripod leg about 6 inches behind my feet, so I gotta be careful not to hit that. But other than that, everything should be good. So this is kind of the angle I've got. Let's see, unbox. So let me know what you guys think about this. I figured this is the best camera, and so I have that on the package itself, and then I've got a top view, so we can go big on that if there's anything we want to see from top down. But the best camera is that back angled camera, so I figured this is kind of the best setup for that. What's up, Tunke? Happy Friday, man. But yeah, I'm super excited. Before kicking it off, I did want to give a huge shout out to Fabrico. Let me go ahead and actually share there. So Fabrico sent this Voron LDO Voron 0.1 kit for us to build on the channel. I will do a final video on this once it's all assembled on the main channel, but I did want to say a huge thank you. I placed links in the description if you are at least in the United States. They are awesome, and they've got the Voron kits available for pre-order here, and they've been shipping out, I think, every couple of weeks. So again, huge thank you to how are you today? I love the camera. Awesome. I'm doing great, man. I feel really good. I slept great, and I'm really pumped to finally open this up. It came in on Tuesday, which is exciting, but also unfortunate because I wanted to open this Wednesday, but originally tracking said it was coming in Wednesday, so I pushed it back, and then of course it showed up. So it's been sitting here staring at me, waiting to be opened, and so I'm looking forward to cracking this open and seeing what's all included in the box. I'm trying to think if there's anything else before we just kind of kick it off. I did want to mention, if you didn't know, that today we are basically going to be unboxing it, taking a look at all the hardware that comes in the kit, and then starting next week when we're actually going to do the build. That'll give me the weekend to kind of organize things a bit and make sure I've got the nut traps all printed out, because that is the last thing that I need to do. So let me see here. I do not like this music. Let's see. Let's try the arcade album. I think this was like fun. Yeah, we'll do this. Some like retro music a little bit. How do you feel about the kit versus self-sourcing before opening it and building it? So this is actually, so I'll talk a little bit about that real quick before getting into it, because that's kind of what the final video on my channel is going to be, is my experience building this and how it compares to self-sourcing. My initial impressions are this: self-sourcing is very expensive. And so it's my understanding, based off talking to Nero briefly about it, that prior to all of the stuff going on in the world with the supply chain issues and the pandemic, that it was a lot cheaper to self-source, and that all the prices have kind of gone up. And so I still have to break down the math of how much I spent self-sourcing, and the reason why it's tricky is that I did buy a lot of spare parts, anticipating that I would strip screws, which I did, and break things, which I did. And so, I mean, I think this is $650. I would say I spent at least 50% more just through the things that I broke and the things that I kind of ordered incorrectly, and just the prices and stuff on shipping. Shipping is really what kicked my ass. The stuff I got through AliExpress wasn't very bad, but for example, the motors, I ordered them from Stepper online, and the Stepper motors I think were like 50 or 60 bucks roughly, but the issue was with shipping. The only shipping they offered on their website was DHL, and it was like 2 days from China to here, and that cost probably $40 or $50, which was a massive, you know, like that's a huge increase in cost. So can't hear music. Interesting. It could be, let me do something here. Let me boost music here for you guys, and then lower. Music should be playing, just let me know. But yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts on it. Also, when you're self-sourcing, there's more variables, right? So like, for example, I screwed up on a couple things on the bearings that you need for the motion system. I ordered the incorrect amount, and so I ended up using half of the ones that I ordered and half the ones that I had here. And I think that caused problems. I ended up having to order a full new set and swap out all that. The belt that I ordered initially was just a cheap belt, which I didn't realize. And that belt started deteriorating very quickly in combination with those bearings. And so I ended up having to buy a Gates belt after the fact. So, you know, there's things like that you shouldn't run into going with a kit. And I mean, even if you go with a kit and then kind of cherry pick a couple of extra things, you're still probably gonna save money. On top of that, there are a couple things in this kit that I'm super excited for. Actually show you guys. Lower the volume a tiny bit. On the music, I can do that, if that's what you're asking. Let's go right there. So let me show you guys this actually. So the things with the LDO kit, and I know DC definitely at least knows this stuff, but there's some really awesome stuff in here. So for one, the linear rails are stainless steel, so there's less of a chance of the rails rusting. It still recommends to grease them, but that's really cool. This is a big thing I'm excited for. The kit includes custom linear rail, basically nut traps, that are, I believe they're metal, includes 5, 7/8 size. Which is awesome because my issue was when I printed all the parts, those nut traps were, they had skirts on them. And so I printed all of, no, not skirts. They had brims on them. I printed all of my parts for the build in with brims just to be extra careful. And for the most part, that was fine. For the nut traps, it was a disaster. It was near impossible for me to get them to slide nicely inside of the extrusions. And so not having to deal with that is really nice. I did mod my initial one with the umbilical wiring harness mod, which I did like, but I spent hours and hours on crimping and prepping wires, and so having things pre-cut and pre-wired is awesome. There's just a lot of things in here that are pretty awesome. Like I saw that the, what was it? The thread locker is included on the grub screws. Let's see, a rib kit includes a small number starting B, a separate bag of set screws with pre-coated thread locker, so that's really cool. And then also on the bed, I haven't had issues with my adhesive so far, but I've heard that there's issues with the bed adhesive starting to, hey Carl, with the bed adhesive starting to come off, especially if you're, you know, printing hot, which I've been doing a lot of ABS just because it does it so well. And so the new RTV glue that comes pre-applied looks absolutely just perfect for, so not only are you kind of, you know, are you saving money versus self-sourcing, but you're also getting some like premium stuff in here, which is really cool. I'm loving my Ender 7, be interested. Yeah, I'm really excited. I don't know much about it other than that it's a Core XY linear rail. The box is heavy, and Joel cut his frame in half on one of his videos. Aside from that, the game plan is with that is to build it as is, review it as is with just the stock Marlin firmware, and then I do plan on installing Clipper to see just how fast we can push that thing. So I'm really excited because that should be fun. I'm actually testing out the Surmoon right now. Nope, right here behind me. I should have a video on that in the next couple of weeks here, and I've got pretty mixed feelings about it. Just as a little spoiler, like there's some definite things I've experienced so far that I'm not really liking. Erin's in the chat. Hi, Erin. She's actually on her way to go meet with her mom to go have lunch, which I'm a little jealous about. So yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. I did go ahead and print out, where are you? Oh, there we go. I did print out another one of my little screw organizers. This was awesome for the first build. And so between unboxing this and starting the build next week, I will, with my little label maker, print out labels like I did. This is from the original V0. It's just so nice. Like, by no means is it a requirement, and you can certainly use things like ice trays or whatever, but when I initially was building the Voron 0 and I was just using the little baggies that everything came with, it was such a pain in the ass to try to keep track of everything. So I'm really excited to have this again instead of that. So yeah, Joel cut the frame was fun. I thought he was just joking around. Yeah, that was insane. He just full send, man. It seems like it didn't actually affect the printability or print quality of it compared to I think the second one that he got, which he did not cut. But yeah, that was metal. Clipper would be good on it. That's my plan for it too. Got it printing nice. That's 100 millimeters a second, solid. I did order, it was really expensive because I couldn't find them in the United States, but I did order a Pi 02 from Canada. So the shipping was as much as the Pi, but because I couldn't find them here in the States, I figured I would just, I would at least order one, because I've been installing, like I've got a Pi 0 running Clipper on one of my printers, which is all, it's fine, it works without having the input shaper, the accelerometer, but for 15 bucks, I am really excited to see if I install that in something like the Under 7, if I can just actually use an accelerometer to run the input shaper, as well as possibly a webcam. So that's, I mean, that's gonna be a game changer. I know that Gina over at Octoprint already said that she did some testing beforehand, and that everything seemed really good, and then it performed very similar to a Pi 3, which a Pi 3 was able to run all of the things, so that's really exciting. Yeah, the Raspberry Pis are definitely a kind of like a gem right now. I think it's because of all the chip shortages going on, and I don't know how that's going to affect the Pi 02s. I don't know if it's a different chip that they've just got better stock on, or if we're going to run into similar issues, but I did see that somebody already received their Pi 2. I do anticipate, though, with the Pi 4s being so out of stock, that these things are going to sell like hotcakes. One, just the performance upgrade on them, the cost, and the fact that Pi 4s are getting harder to get. DC, I actually didn't hit you up on that on purpose, because when I was going through some stuff, oh, where are you? If only I was organized. Here we go. When I was going through my stuff the other day, I actually ended up finding, let me see, I have top view. Cool. I ended up finding a bunch of little boards that I had. So I don't have a Pi 4, but I did find a bunch of the original zeros, 0Ws, I guess, which I was using for my farm, actually, years ago when I was doing a little print farm with Octoprint. I was using these without a webcam, and they worked pretty well, but I did find a Pi 3. So that was the reason why I didn't actually hit you up on that, was that I figured, I've got a Pi 3, which should be fine for kind of doing all that stuff. But yeah, I was really excited. It was like finding a gold mine. I found an Arduino Uno. I got some buck converters. These are all accelerometers, and then this is this is a cool little board too from Adafruit that I was wanting to play around with. So let's see, Eggy's in the chat. Hey Eggy, I just remembered like 20 minutes before the stream that you said there was some delay in the audio to the video, so hopefully that's better. Let me know, because you were the one that called it out in the last stream. Paul says, good evening. Hey Paul. So yeah, let's go ahead and crack this thing open. I have an X-Acto knife. Let me see here. Actually, let me get a drink of water before. All right, I'm super excited. Let's go ahead and make the incision. Wait, did I have it? Hands all shaky. I'm too excited. Hopefully I don't cut anything important. I think I might need to replace the blade on this. I actually was removing something the other day and freaking cut into my thumb, which is still slowly healing. Oh, this is gonna be great. Now if I can only figure out where to, you know what? Let's go to, this is the better camera. If I can figure out where to place all this stuff as we go through here, that will be half the challenge. How do we want to do this? Should I take things out? Like, all right, so let's just do it like this. We'll do like one thing at a time. So the first thing we've got in the box is the SKR Mini E3 version 2.0, which is the exact same board that I ran for the original Pi or not original Pi, my mind's on Pi. When I built the original Voron, that is what I used. So same exact board, which is cool. It comes with a little micro SD card, which is handy. It's really small, but it should be enough to run at least the clipper file on there, which is a plus, because I'm actually running out of, I've been using like 8 gig micro SD cards because that's all I have, and I'm kind of running low on them actually. So same exact board. Yeah, it is a complete kit except for the printed parts. That is something that you have to do yourself, and I'm basically done with that. Let me go down. This is the part. So I'm still missing the top hat. I'm probably gonna do that later on. And I'm missing the panel because I wasn't entirely sure. I think the panels are 2 mil in thickness. But I wanted to make sure and print out a couple parts. One issue I ran into with my first build was that the panels were a bit too thick, and so I printed out all of the mounting parts and then had to scrap them and print them again. So I figured I would wait till I got the acrylic in. But yeah, all of the functional parts are here. I did these cool skirts, which are single piece skirts instead of in two. I'm testing out a pretty insane, pricey machine, but it's able to print really large carbon fiber ABS parts. So it's carbon fiber ABS, that's the black, and then the gray is eSun ABS Plus. So it's gonna be a much more stealthy looking printer than the first one, which is kind of like bright orange, well, black and orange, I guess, the Modbot colors. I feel like there was something else I want to tell you guys, but I don't remember. When will you assemble it? Yes, it's actually going to be streamed. Let's see, I've seen a few cut off the front of it, but I had very little failures on it, so no point messing with it just yet. Oh, interesting, a couple other people have cut the front off of their... We still talking about the Ender 7? Yeah, I am actually going to do it on stream, Eggy. It wasn't the initial plan, but I figured, what the hell, it's gonna be fun and challenging because, one, I'm pretty new to streaming. This is like our 3rd stream, and 2, you know, I've only built one Voron, so it's gonna be interesting, but I'm excited. Well, I'll probably get frustrated at certain points, and hopefully you guys will be able to help, and you know, hopefully it'll be useful to someone new that's wanting to build one of these. Let's see, how is the eSun ABS Plus? So the eSun ABS Plus was really easy to print with. I have heard mixed things about it. I've heard that it's not, it's kind of a mixed polymer. I don't exactly know what it's blended with, but I've heard that it's not quite as good as regular ABS. We'll see. It's only for the accent parts, so the main parts are going to be carbon fiber ABS from 3DX Tech, which is pretty premium stuff, but it looks awesome and it's going to be great. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I did actually want to mention that to anyone here that's either thinking about building one or does build one, that I told DC this and I had no idea. With the initial Voron, I had a ton of issues with parts cracking, specifically the linear rail mount for the X carriage. It kept cracking, and I printed it probably 3 or 4 times before swapping over to carbon fiber nylon, which is what's currently running on it. And I ended up swapping out all of the other linear rail mounting points with carbon fiber nylon because I was getting micro cracks. And I think that I figured out the issue. Hey, Hector. Yeah, that's Hector from Fabrico. Thank you for sending over the kit, man. I'm excited. We're just kind of cracking into it here. So one thing I discovered was when I was first going to build the Voron, someone had told me use Loctite on like any part that's related to the motion system. So the parts that bolt into the linear rails, I was using a Loctite. I think I got it right here actually. I was using this stuff. Top view. It looks like it looks like crap now because it was leaking. But I used this stuff and I had no idea that this was going to be problematic and that maybe the information I had seen was bad information or I misunderstood it. But I actually saw a thread on Twitter the other day between the guys over at 3D Gloop that make their like bed adhesive slash glue, and they were talking about Loctite, saying that it has some gnarly chemicals in it that interact very poorly with ABS and quite a few other materials. And so I think that was my problem. And so for this build, the only thing I'm using Loctite on is going to be the grub screws for the stepper motors. So other than that, I am not using Loctite because I think that's what was causing my issues. And the reason why the carbon fiber nylon, I believe, hasn't cracked is because nylon is quite chemically resistant, especially compared to ABS if you look at like a chemical chart. And so that is, I think, the reason why. But yeah, it would have been really nice to have seen that way before I had long nights trying to get that figured out. So Okay, so let's go ahead and grab the next thing here, which is the beautiful rail kit, or not rail kit, the beautiful frame kit. And so I originally was going with a black frame and carbon fiber black parts in gray because I wanted this sleek looking Voron 0, unlike the other one that's kind of flashy. And before it got sent out, Hector reached out to me and said, hey, are you sure you want the black extrusions? And he caused me to second guess myself, and so we're going with purple. So it's gonna be purple frame, black carbon fiber, and it's going to be gray accent. So originally I wasn't gonna do this. Hector convinced me. The purple is just it's such a gorgeous purple. So let me pull these out. God, they're so small. It's adorable. Like, I mean, let me see if I can get a close up for you guys of this. They are the smallest extrusions, and the purple looks so good. Like, I think, let me pull up the printed parts. So it's gonna have a little bit more color than I initially had planned, but it's still gonna be pretty sleek. I mean, purple is gonna be the main accent, or the main color that pops out from the black and the gray, but I think this was a good call. Yeah, purple is awesome, DC. What colors are you going with for yours? I don't think you told me what the primary and the accent color is gonna be. But yeah, purple is probably one of my favorites. The orange I like a lot too. If I hadn't done the original one with orange accents, I was debating on doing that, but these are just absolutely gorgeous. And the LDO ones are already tapped, so it makes it, that's another thing too, is I had mentioned one of the big pluses of not sourcing it yourself and getting it through like LDO is that the rails are all pre-tapped and ready to rock and roll, which will really speed up the process. Granted, I did order LDO rails or LDO frame kit for the first one, so I got the same kind of setup, but you know, if you source and cut these yourself, sure, maybe you could save a little bit, but you've got to deal with all that. And so I definitely think that like LDO makes awesome stuff, and these frames are absolutely gorgeous. Let me pull this little guy. It's probably one of the bed frame pieces. Let's look at it. Let me see if I can get like a super close up for you guys. It's such a nice color. Purple is my color. Yeah, purple's awesome. Purple isn't exactly my color per se. I think that's Aaron's favorite color. But just something about these anodized aluminum extrusions are just insane. So I'm really excited for these. Okay, so purple. Uh-oh, do we have a mailman? No. Purple frame. If you guys weren't here on Wednesday, the dog started barking when a package came, and I have a feeling since Aaron's not here to calm him down, they're probably gonna bark at some point. But okay, purple, black primary, and teal accent. Ooh, that's gonna look awesome. What teal did you go with? Like, what's the specific filament? Yeah, I'm really excited about the purple. I think that was a good call, Hector. I'm glad I listened to you, man. Aaron's driving to go have lunch, but she's watching the stream. She said correct, yes. Purple is her favorite color, I was right. Let's see, it was never my favorite color until I built a water-cooled PC with purple that changed my mind totally. Now I'm purple forever. KVP teal, awesome. I would want a Voron 0.1, but I don't know if I will use it that much since it's small. I don't know what you print in your spare time, Eggy, or what you print mostly, but I will say that a lot of what I print fits on the 120 by 120 by 120 build volume. Not everything, you know, and for that, it's, you know, having a bigger printer. I don't know that I would want a Voron 0.1 to be my only printer, but if you've already got something for bigger prints, man, like having this small thing to not take up a lot of space and print out really quick, great parts is just awesome. All of, except with the exception of those two massive carbon fiber skirts that I printed out, everything was printed on the Voron 0.1. So it's been doing, like, let me see if you guys can see this. It's been doing an awesome job. I've been really happy with it, and it's completely tuned now. We did on the first stream 2 weeks ago, we did pressure advance, and I did input shaper on it on my own. So it's completely tuned now. I just bought my kit, blue frame, black base, and blue accents. It's freaking awesome. I love having my Vern's print to go with my 2.4. Totally, I think that's like, you know, if you can justify, you know, the kits or sourcing or spending for the 2.4 as well, I do think that's like the perfect marriage with the big 2.4 and the smaller 0.1. Isn't there like an Ender extender kit, but for the 0.1? Maybe? I haven't seen that mod. I do know that there is like a pretty cool mod for the Creality Ender 3 or Ender 3 V2 where you can convert it to like some kind of an afterburner that looks pretty good. Yeah, the Tiny M is one that I think is kind of like a 2.4 and a 0.1 that had a kid, their love child. And I think that DC's building one of those as well. Okay, we've got this stuff, which I believe this is for the cable management, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't use anything like this on my 0.1, but I have seen this sort of mounting solution for the bigger 2.4s. What is this stuff called? I know there's a specific name for it, but I believe, again, this is gonna be for some of the cable management stuff, if I'm not mistaken. Which honestly, I mean, we'll see if it makes sense to use it, but I thought that the default cable management solution looked pretty damn good on the 0.1 that I built, just using the double-sided tape and stuff like that and kind of routing the cables, but still cool to have as an option if you do want to go that route. Wire run, okay, that's a pretty simple name for it. Hey, Pi's here. How's it going? Let's see. We've got a little manual. Oh, cool. So there's also a nice little Voron LDO 0.1. It's got some, I think there was a QR? No, there's no QR on here, but it's got the documentation for it, a link to the GitHub, the Discord info, so all that stuff on here. And then it's got also, well, this actually does have a QR code on the top. But this is the checklist of everything that should be in here. So that's cool, just to double check and make sure that everything is in here, which I will probably do off camera later on, just to be certain that everything is supposed to be here. And then we've got some cool LDO swag, a couple stickers, LDO, and Voron, so that's kind of cool. I might actually plaster these on the machine when it's all said and done. My initial plan is going to be to build this completely stock, just so that way anybody that ends up ordering one of these or wants to build one, if they do check out which will probably be a very long series of videos building this thing, it'll be stock. But then there are some pretty cool mods that I got in from Fabrico as well a couple weeks ago that I think I have to install at some point. One of them is the belted Z, which is cool. The Z axis will be able to move a lot quicker. And I think that it also possibly help with the Z axis staying in place when the motors go off. I think that was one thing that I saw. And then this one I'm really excited for. Although it is a really small build plate and manual leveling is no big deal. This is certainly like an overkill mod, but it is a tiny little magnetic probe thing that basically, if I remember correctly, the tool head goes over to it. There's magnets that attach to the mini afterburner. It does its quick little probe, and then it kind of puts it back off on the magnet. So it just looks awesome. So we'll probably end up installing these after the fact on, independent streams of their own. My allergies are killing me. Okay, what's next? All right, next we've got the electronics and wiring, which it is also really nice having things much more organized in these little boxes. When I self-sourced it, there was a lot more boxes than this, and it was kind of a disaster trying to figure out where the hell everything was. So I'm gonna keep everything in their respective boxes. That way I don't touch the wiring stuff until we actually get to the wiring portion. So inside this cable kit, there is the end stop with cable, Y end stop with cable, all the end stops with cables, inlet to the power supply, 24 volt to 5 volt cables for the Raspberry Pi, 24 volt to the SKR, 5 volt to Raspberry Pi, bed ground cable, and a cable sleeve. We will open it up just to take a look at it. Is it super difficult to swap out for the belted Z? I really want to build it stock, man, just so that way I can kind of compare apples to apples of what it's like assembling the LDO kit. I mean, look at this is awesome. So all of the cables are, pre-crimped. They're already to size. I mean, granted, I found it a little bit therapeutic just sitting here crimping all the wires for my first build, but I wouldn't want to do it again if I didn't have to. So having everything already, pre-crimped to the correct length where you can just slot them in is awesome. It's got a nice little cable braid for all of the cables to feed through. Yeah, this in itself this is a huge time saving. Vids are more value building stock and separate ones for mods. Yeah, I agree, Zen. I feel that there will be more people that are probably building 0.1s for the first time that will want to see it just kind of, how do I build this thing, get it working, and then we'll do the mods. So, but I haven't due to amount of disassembly. Gotcha. We'll see. We'll play it by ear then on the Belted Z. So yeah, cable's awesome. This is really nice. Again, for the sake of me doing it the first time, I didn't really mind so much, but I am very happy. I'll put these back in the bag after. I'm very happy about that. Then we've got the bowden tubing, which is clear. I went with black on my initial Voron build, which I thought would look sleek and blend in with everything. It was probably, in hindsight, a stupid decision because if there's ever an issue with the extrusion or clogging, it is impossible for me to see inside of there and figure out what's going on, or if there's some broken off filament. So having clear bowden tubing for the guide tube is definitely not a bad idea. A bunch of zip ties, which is also great because you will need, at least for the mini afterburner, you're gonna need some really tiny zip ties to mount those all the different cables coming off of the mini afterburner. Then we've got our blower fans, 2 blower fans for the layer cooling and 1 for the hot end cooling, which are super tiny fans. We've got our little plug or inlet for the PSU. Then we've got the heater cartridge and thermistor. This is cool too. So it came with the Big Tree Tech kit came with a little micro SD card for the Big Tree Tech board, the SKR, but they also include 16 gigabyte Kingston micro SD card, which will be for the Raspberry Pi for all of your install and all of your STLs and your G-code and stuff like that, which is a huge SD card. I think when I had my little Raspberry Pi farm, I was only using 4 gigabyte micro SD cards, and I couldn't fill it no matter how many, like 100 plus G-code files I had on there. The included SD card in my LDO kit was dead on arrival. That sucks, dude. Kingston definitely makes solid, I mean, they're known, I've been using their micro SD cards and their SSDs for a long time, so that sucks to hear. Then we've got a Pi 3, so this will be for running Clipper, which is great. And with how hard Raspberry Pis have been to come across, it's nice that they've still got them in their kits. Let's see. Is the stream still looking all right, guys? I got a little pop-up notification on it. Just want to make sure. It looks like it's fine on my end, but just let me know if there's any issues with it. And then this looks like it's going to be the buck converter for the Raspberry Pi. Let's see. Model blade. Yeah, so this is going to be the buck converter. So 24 volts will go into it, and then 5 volts will go out, and this is what we'll use to power the Pi 3. Okay, awesome. Thank you, guys. So yeah, that's everything included in the electronics kit, which is, I mean, it's everything that you're going to need. And again, the one thing too is, like, as ironic as it is and how many different mods and electronic things I've done over the years, I didn't really have a lot of the proper crimping tools. And so for the initial build, I had to purchase, let's see. I had to purchase a set of crimpers, which, there we go. Oh, there we go. And these guys were probably like 40 or 50 bucks. And then I also had to purchase some ferrule crimpers, which were another like 40 bucks. So I spent $100. Granted, like, those are going to be valuable for many, many years. But, if you don't have all of those at your disposal already, and you're going to want quality ones if you're doing all of the crimping yourself, then having everything pre-crimped to the correct length is a huge time saving, possibly cost savings as well. But sure didn't need to be formatted. Try formatting it using the Pi imager. Yeah, I don't doubt that it's possible to get a a micro SD card that does show up dead, but I years and years ago when I was doing a lot of video game modding stuff, I was working with a supplier out of China that was importing a bunch of these like little flash cart things, and they sent in a ton of micro SD cards that I would test out, and it was pretty rare for a Kingston brand micro SD card to be DOA. Again, not that it's impossible, but I'm gonna put all these back in right now, actually. I know I said I was gonna do it later, but that's all I need is to start building this thing and realize I misplaced something. This goes in here, and the cable braid. What's everybody got going on? Yo-Yo came back from Hector's Discord channel. What's going on? What's everybody got going on for the weekend? Any printing and stuff like that? I've got a, I'm actually testing out a pretty insane printer, and I'll show you guys after this actually, when we got a little bit of time, we'll get through this. But I was dual printing a carbon fiber in one head and glass filled nylon in the other head, and I still definitely need to do some calibration, but it was pretty awesome. It was pretty freaking cool. And then I'm doing some resin printing this week. Where do I put, I'm just trying to figure out where to put this stuff for now. We will set this back here. I'm gonna end up putting it all back in the box just so I don't lose everything. Let's see, sub-DC, I've been trying disk utility. Interesting. I just had the worst luck because 0.1 was held. Oh my God. That sucks. Yeah, I was happy. Mine showed up, no problems. The box wasn't banged up or anything. And print my Trident parts, nice. First puppy training tomorrow, that's awesome, dude. That was actually one of my favorite. I told you that I worked at PetSmart like 10 years ago, and puppy training days were so fun. All right, so next we've got the power supply, which I believe it is a Meanwell. Yeah, so it's the exact same one I sourced initially. Meanwell, 24 volt, 150 watts. So it's the recommended power supply, which is awesome. I mean, Meanwell is known for making high quality power supplies. That's one thing I really like about this kit too, is like, when I was initially looking at the Voron 0 kits that were available and debating on, you know, whether I was gonna self-source or go with the kit, this kit didn't exist. And the only kits that existed were sort of variable in their quality. Like some of the stuff they clearly skipped corners on or cut corners on. And so like this is a completely different setup than, you know, again, a lot of the other lower cost kits that are existing. Then we've got the Dragonfly Hotend, which I'm really excited to try out. I have the Dragon High Flow in my first Voron that I built, which I've been really happy with, but I've seen this for a really long time, and so I'm really excited. We'll go ahead and crack it open, actually. I'm really excited to see how this works out. I know that it's quite different. Like, I think that it's more, I don't want to say it's similar to a V6, but I think that the block is threaded on instead of it, like the, how do I explain it? The Dragon is more like a Slice Engineering Mosquito in a sense, while I think this is more like a V6 hybrid. It's a gorgeous looking Hotend as well. Let's see if I can get you guys a little bit of a closer. It's definitely really pretty. I like the color of it and also the look of the heatsink. Dragonfly works way better than a V6. Okay, cool. I don't know what I'm talking about then. I guess the only thing that I was, oh, it has a, interesting. It has a bimetal heat break on it, which I didn't know that was part of it. Yeah, the only thing I guess that I was thinking was that it threads on, unlike the Dragon or the Mosquito that bolts into the heatsink. That's like kind of one of the primary differences between the two. It also looks like it comes with a better nozzle. This is definitely not a brass nozzle. Does anyone know what kind of nozzle this is? It looks kind of like a plated copper, possibly. But yeah, this looks great. Again, the feedback I've seen off of these is really nothing but positive, so I'm looking forward to kind of getting this on there and testing it against the Dragon just to see how it performs. Copper nozzle, okay. It's more like a copper head. Does the groove top come off? It's probably just threaded, right? Or there's actually a, it's probably more than, I think it's just threaded, but I see a spot there where there's, you can take a little wrench, which might be in here. I don't want to lose the little parts. Yeah, there's a tiny little wrench inside of here. And so there's a slot where it looks like you can basically screw off the groove mount on the top, so that way you can bolt it directly into the mini afterburner. But yeah, this thing looks awesome. I'm again super excited just to see how it performs, as I've seen these for quite a while now. And I didn't know, that was a surprise. The bimetal heat break was not something I knew it came with. I thought it was just like a standard, was it aluminum typically? Let's go ahead and shove this sock back on. Cool, put this back in. Not prone to clogging and getting not, oh nice, okay. What's the main, what is the main variable glue stick, is if you know, that makes it where it's less prone to clogging or heat creep like some of the V6s? Is it the bimetal heat break, or is it just in the design of the heatsink? It does a better job. Okay, the bimetal feed tube, gotcha. I don't, the only experience I have with a bimetal heat break is on the current printer I'm testing out over here, which is this massive machine, which I'll do a review on in probably a couple more weeks. But I've been wanting to install a bimetal heat break on one of the kind of lower cost printers that I've got sitting around here, because I've heard great things. It's just such a cost-effective, simple upgrade to be able to get better prints and also print with higher temp materials. Yes, the BMS is a bit too close to the mount. If you flip it 100 degrees, it sort of fits, but it's better to mount it with an adapter or something like that. BMS. I have the BMS version that's supposed to be. Oh, interesting. So the BMS version just has a different bolting system then? Does it basically have two? Because the Creality Hotends in general have like the two through holes that bolt it to the gantry. Is that what the other version's like? I'll have to look into that. I didn't know there was two versions. I haven't looked too heavily into them, other than like kind of drooling over the photos I've seen of them. And we've got, this is the motor kit, which probably has all the motors. Oh, cool. So it has extra plugs, and if you want to crimp the cables yourself, you can, but they all have plugs on them as well. Then there is the nut trap, and yeah, it's everything. So we've got these really small, this guy's adorable. This is the smallest stepper motor I've used on a 3D printer, but the tiny little guy for the mini afterburner, which weighs like next to nothing. The BMS looks like a tiny Creality one. Okay, different heatsink. It's smaller and shorter, so it's not a drop fit, needs modding. Interesting. I might have to pick one up and play around with it. But yeah, I've got the little motor, then the two. So I think those are some of the differences between, if I remember, I didn't build a V0, just a 0.1, but these are beefier, if I'm not mistaken. I think it uses a different, this motor, because the mini afterburner compared to the V0 used what? It was like the stopwatch? It was something like that. And then also I believe that one of the differences, I could be incorrect, and if anyone's built the original V0, feel free to correct me, but I believe that the Z motor is slightly different as well. I think that possibly there was some kind of a coupler here before. Well, now it's just the lead screw is actually inside of the stepper motor, which I believe allowed them to shave off a bit of height to it. Yeah, pocket watch. Bimetal heat breaks work super well with copper, brass, Hotend, nice. Yeah, so I don't have experience. I mean, I will say that the, yeah, Z was a belted setup. Oh, interesting. I might have to look into the, when I was debating on building one of these, it was like right when the V0 had rolled out. So I think it was in June or July. And so I did look at some of the original V0 stuff, but most of my focus was on, you know, 0.1, just because that was what I was sourcing parts for. So I didn't realize that it had a belt on it that basically attached to a stepper. I do know that 24/7 printing, which I showed off, so we can get this back in here. I showed off his video on doing like the speed benchy last week on his V0 that's like crazy heavily modified, but man, his setup is insane. All right, and these are all of the panels, which this was one of the things I've been waiting on. I believe on their website it said that, that the standard LDO panels were 2 mil thick, but it did say that depending on the place you buy it from, maybe they have swapped some stuff out, and I could have just messaged Hector, but I didn't want to bug him. I had so much other stuff going on too, but I just wanted to confirm that these are indeed 2 millimeters thick. And then also I know that one of my buddies that built the LDO kit already, I think he said that he printed the panel mounts that were for the correct size of what he had, and they were, it was still too tight of a fit, so he had to kind of scale up one size. I want to scratch this. Let me just cut open the top here. Yeah, it was kind of a huge pain with the, I sourced my original panels elsewhere, and since I did the whole self-source thing, and I didn't realize there were so many different panel sizes, so I printed one, turned out it was wrong, then I measured my panels and went with the largest size, and it still didn't fit. So I ended up having to take the Voron 0.1, I should have used scissors for this. I ended up having to take the Voron 0.1 Fusion 360 files and scaling those parts for the beefy acrylic that I had. This is definitely thinner than what I had. Let me take a look. Where is... The great question is, where is... Oh, I see it. I'll be right back. Let me grab this. All right. Oh, these do not look like 2 mil. These are closer to 3, actually. That's interesting. Well, that's that looks like a back panel, actually. Let me see. Yeah. Do you know what they're supposed to be, Hector? Yeah, they actually are a bit thicker than I thought. They're 3 mil. It's 3 millimeter acrylic. Yeah, I thought they were thinner, so they're not. This is actually not much thinner than the stuff that I sourced. It just looks it, but maybe my mind is, or my kind of eyes are playing tricks on me. So I think the ones I initially sourced were like 3.4 or 3.5. So this isn't too far off from that, actually. Back and bottom panels are likely thicker, 3 millimeter on some and 2 something on others. Okay, I'll probably end up then, as I'm printing out the different panel mounts, like just measuring each piece to not make a redo of last time when I printed out the wrong panels a couple times. That's actually cool though. I like that they're thicker, just because it feels a bit more secure on the sides. Since there's not, I mean, there's I guess handle mods, but when I pick up the Voron and move it, I'm quite literally hugging it. So it's nice that the side panels are a little bit thicker. You go over there. Man, there's still quite a bit of stuff in here. Let's see, power cable, cool, in a nice little bubble mailer. We've got the linear rail kit, which I did not go with the LDO linear rail kits when I sourced it myself. I went with, what the hell's, here's all the info on the bottom on the panels. Okay. Yeah, that's right. For the back and bottom, it just bolts directly into the heat inserts, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, does it? I can't remember actually offhand. Yeah, I'm excited to see these rails. So it says that they're rails. Oh, these are the nut traps too. These are awesome. Okay, so the linear rails, one, they look fantastic, and they already look like they're pretty damn well cleaned up with just like maybe a light oil on them. But let me see, where's this? Let's check out. you. Okay. So stainless steel linear rails, that's right, no more worrying about rusty rails. You'll still want to grease these rails, but you can do it at the end of your build. So yeah, I'm just basically going to take these out of the packaging and throw them on the frame. And then once it's all said and done, then I'll take some oil and oil them up a little bit. But that's really nice. With the ones I sourced from AliExpress, I ended up taking them off and cleaning them beforehand, which I guess it wasn't a huge pain, but it is really nice that, you know, again, these are sort of already a lot more prepped. And then this is kind of a big one for me, and I mentioned this earlier, but these guys. So these are the nut traps. Well, they're not even, I guess you don't even need nut traps because you just thread them directly into here, but these are for the linear rails. And so this is what you'll use to position them and then bolt them inside of the extrusions. And if you, I don't know that they sell these separately, at least I haven't seen them yet. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody starts manufacturing these, but this is awesome, not having to print these guys out, because with the little plastic printable nut traps, like I said, I had printed them with brims, which was a huge problem. Even taking an X-Acto and trying to clean up the edges, it was really tough to get them in. And then I ran into a couple instances where they started cracking as I was, you know, basically bolting the linear rails inside. And so it was just a massive pain. So this is awesome, having these you know, machined ones instead of, Aaron, instead of having to print them out. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. That was a huge pain. That was one of my, when I initially started building the Voron, one of my first pain points was those nut traps. I couldn't figure out why the hell they were so difficult to fit, and that was it. Okay, they will be sold separately. Good. If you, regardless of whether you get the kit or not, definitely get those nut traps. They are, I mean, I haven't, I haven't used them yet, but based off what I'm seeing here, I don't see how they can be worse than what my experience was like printing them out myself. Let's see, I bought 5 huge 25mm LED reels from Automatic 5 Plus. Can't wait to play with those. Holy crap, that's awesome. Are you going to, hey, if you bought 5, sorry, what are you doing 1X, 2Y? Wait, how are you, 5, I'm trying to think how you're gonna use them. I would imagine 2 for the Z. I can't think of, I don't have the Under 5 Plus here anymore. Nice, okay. Well, I'll probably end up linking the, I have the full kit linked in the description for anyone that wants to check it out or wants to place an order for one of these, but I'll probably end up placing a link to those as well after the fact. I don't see what's so funny about nut traps. Me and Aaron have very, very mature sense of humor. I'm doing a weird hybrid mods. When will the build start? So build will start next week, Eggy. I initially wanted to start as early as Monday, but because like I still have to, I still need to be producing content for the main channel, and I'm working on a couple of kind of complex things. It's probably going to start Wednesday. If something changes, I'll let you know. I'm thinking I'll probably stream next Wednesday and then next Friday. And so my goal will be Wednesday to complete the frame. I need to sit down and figure out what my goals are. But yeah, as of right now, Wednesday is when the build's gonna start. If for some reason I decided to do like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I will schedule it over the weekend. But as of right now, I'm thinking Wednesday, just to give me some days to actually work on content and script and stuff like that. And yes, probably same time, Iggy. I like the noon thing. I know that it's not ideal for people in the US unless you're working remotely or have that option, but yeah, I am gonna do the same time for now. Just a straight linear rail conversion, not a core XY. Okay, nice, nice. I think you're not, I'm jealous. She's going to a place called, I think, is it Mr. Taco or King Taco, which makes fantastic Mexican food. And I've only had a bagel today so far, so I'm, I'm jealous. So the difference between the channels isn't much, except for, so Modbot's like the main channel, right? That's what I've been making content on for like a decade now. And all of the like scripted, edited, shot videos are on that. I make a video every single Saturday. I haven't missed a Saturday in like 95 weeks now. And so when I knew I was gonna be doing live streams, I wasn't initially sure whether I was just gonna stream on the main channel or do a completely separate thing. And ultimately it just came down to not all of the people that watch this regular Saturday videos that are like, 10 to 20 minutes long wants to hang out and hang out for hours. And so I didn't want to bombard everybody with streams as well as notifications. So it just kind of, although you know, I think that the streams would probably get more viewers if I did on the main channel. I just decided to do a side channel and, you know, slowly build it up. So I will announce it a couple more times on the main channel, but that's the reason why. This channel is just, it's for live streams, it's for possibly some shorts and a little bit more experimental stuff, but that's the only difference. It's all making, 3D printing, hopefully eventually CNC and stuff like that. Hey Daniel, if you want a Dragonfly BMS, I'll send you one for free. I won't be using mine. Yours if you want it, just let me know. I'm in Ontario, Canada. I appreciate that. I'm trying to think, what is the best way to reach out to you? Are you in the Discord by any chance? If so, I may take you up on that. If you're not using it, and you know, of course I'll pay for shipping, but it could be cool to play around with. Okay, back to the unboxing. We're getting closer. Oh, I saw one, I'm sorry, that was regarding the build plate. I think you asked if I was doing yes, the Kirigami bed. So I think the Kirigami bed, if I'm not mistaken, is kind of like a beefier bed with a little bit of a different shape underneath it. Let me see here, right? Kirigami Voron 0. It's tough to type like this. Yeah, that's what it is. I'm going stock at least for the initial build. After the fact, there's a couple mods I've already got here from Fabrico, like one of them is the bed leveling and the belted Z that I might end up doing. But for the sake of, again, anybody that just buys one of these, comes across the stream and then's like, oh man, like I got stuck at this part and clicks to it. I want it to be the same stock setup as what they're gonna have in their box. I'm looking down, but I should be looking up. So for at least the beginning, I won't be. What is, I mean, looking at the Kirigami bed, what is the main advantage of it? Is it just the rigidity of it? It looks like it's a lot beefier, so I'm assuming that, you know, and well, maybe lighter weight as well, because it looks like it's kind of hollow underneath it. I haven't looked into it too much. If you want to let me know, I'd love to know, actually. I haven't done Discord in years, but I can certainly email you with some details if the About section channel has an email. I don't know if this channel has the email in the About, Bardicus, but if you're on the other channel, just like Modbot, that is the best email to reach out to me, and I will definitely email you back. Yeah, more rigid and no printed parts to warp. Gotcha. Has that been an issue with the Vorons, is warping beds? I mean, granted I haven't gone over mine with like a magnifying glass yet, but I haven't noticed anything. It does make sense though. You basically, it looks like just bolt it. Let me show it for anyone that wants to see it actually. So this is the bed that they're talking about, and it looks like Fabrico has it, or no, they were shipping, pre-order item shipping is delayed until end of November. So it looks like instead of the stock, you know, printed one that uses a set of extrusion in the front, extrusion on the sides, and then some printed parts, that this basically just bolts directly into the linear rail. And then these are the 3 holes for the bed. So there's just, it simplifies the bed. And like you said, it's rigidity as well. Yeah, maybe once this is all said and done, if this is, I don't know what's required on the belted Z as far as, you know, if this is compatible with it, but perhaps if I have to disassemble it to do the belted Z, this could be something to look into if there's interest. Easier, so yeah, I'm subbed to both your channels. I'll email you. Awesome. Yeah. Again, I mean, if you've got a use for it, man, I definitely don't want to, you know, take it off your hands. But if it's just sitting there and you don't want it, I certainly can find a experiment for it that we can use on the channel. So, all right, let's go back. How long have we been streaming for? An hour, like exactly an hour. Okay, build plate and parts, which the build plate is adorable on this printer. Build plate assembled. Oh, cool. So we've got in here, we've got the springs, yellow springs, which are kind of like the standard stiff springs that most people upgrade the low-cost printers to. We've got the tensioners for the screws or for the bed, which is kind of cool. The stock ones, which I printed out, there's printed ones that usually use a brass heat insert, and so these are all metal, which, I mean, the stock ones work fine, but that's kind of cool. And then you've got your little bit of cable chain for that. And I'm excited to check out the bed because I've heard, well, also, let me see. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so 2 things. One, this is cool. So this is something that LDO does where it basically has this glued on, it's essentially a gasket. And so the issue I've heard is that the stock adhesive that this normally comes with, these Kinova beds, possibly can come loose over time just from the hot and cool cycles and the adhesive kind of wearing down. And so having this on here will fully prevent that. And then again, just like like I mentioned, as far as wiring goes, you don't have to, you know, I soldered, I think on mine, the fuse in line while this has it already, you know, already ready to rock and roll, which is really, really nice. And then Fabrico did something awesome, which I don't know how well it'll pick up on camera, but they actually, with the fiber laser, etched the Modbot robot. Let's see if it'll pick it up. I don't think it's so small. I think, yeah, you guys can see that, right? It's got the Modbot robot, and it says Modbot, and it's got the Fabrico F for their logo. This is such a cool, this is awesome. Thank you so much, Hector. I know, is this something for the sake of Vorons where you're gonna be offering it? I know that, I think you mentioned that you're definitely gonna be using it for some cool custom stuff, but is this gonna be something where like, well, I'm just trying to think, because it'd be really cool if you could put the serial number on the bed, even though it would be tough because that would be after it's assembled. But I don't know if this is something on the bed specifically he'll be offering, but this is super cool. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's definitely, you can't see nearly as much detail on camera, it doesn't look like, but it looks freaking awesome. Okay, DC says he'll be offering this kind of thing. I know that he said he was gonna be offering like, he posted, watch, let me show you guys something really rad really quick here. We all like cool things. Let's see here. On Twitter, Twitter. I don't know why it goes to compose tweet right away. So where did I see it? It's probably under likes. I gotta show you guys this if you guys haven't seen it, but Fabrico was etching some custom V0 frames that look absolutely beautiful. If I can't find it in like a minute or two, then I will go away, but it's incredible looking. Oh, where are you? I think I'm on Twitter way too much. There's just a lot of the cool projects that I follow and different creators are over here. Oh, here we go. Okay, so yeah, this is awesome. This is using the same, okay, yeah, Speedy saw it, but this is gorgeous. The first photo I saw, so this is it all laid out, but this was the first photo I saw that he posted of it. And it, like, someone said it looks like Spider-Man, but to me, like, it reminds me of some kind of like bloody vampire, especially because of the Halloween, you know, Halloween time right now, but with the red and the spiders and the black, like, it just looks wicked freaking cool. So it seems like he's gonna be offering some customization of stuff like this. This is another design with kind of like these cool geometric shapes. But yeah, I saw this and was just like drooling. This is so cool. So it does seem like they're gonna be offering some really sweet customization. I don't know the details on all of it, but I definitely will, you know, share that info when it's provided to me. But these look absolutely insane. He did the AMB motors too. That's awesome. Yeah, I don't have, oop, that's face cam. I don't have the ability, space, or right now budget to buy a fiber laser by any means, but man, like, it just looks like such a cool thing to have. And then also here's the we've got the magnetic plate and then the powder coated PEI, which has got the LDO and the Voron logo on the front here. And this is actually much nicer too. I sourced oh shit, and there's a smooth one. That's sick. Okay, so it comes with both smooth and powder coated, which is awesome. I think I just got your email, actually, Barticus. My phone vibrated, so I'll take a look at it later on. Thank you. This is super cool. So when I sourced it myself, I got powder coated. I didn't get smooth, and mine is also not dual-sided, which is really cool. And then I can't show you guys because it's way over there, but the spring steel that I ordered from the bomb doesn't actually cover the entire magnetic plate, which, although I think it's still big enough to like where it covers the whole printable area, it just doesn't look good having the black board on the outline. So this is cool. You get both smooth for, you know, if you want smooth, and you've got powder coated, which I've kind of fallen in love with powder coated as of late. I gotta go to sleep. Have a nice day, night, and fun stream. Awesome, Eggy. Thanks for hanging out, man. And I will just take a look, I guess, on the channel maybe over the weekend to see if I posted when we're gonna be doing the starting the build. But yeah, bed's awesome. Thanks again, Hector. Like the custom Modbot engraving is just such a cool touch. I'm really excited to have this thing on display. All right, let's get this all nice and organized back in here. Hopefully I can maybe close it. Yeah, kinda. Kinda? It's good enough. All right, let's see what else. Getting down to the last couple things here. Oh, tool head in motion, okay. I'm assuming this is bearings. Yeah, all the different parts. So all of the tool head parts, we've got this is really nice too. I don't know how well it'll pick up on camera. Actually, let me show you guys here, face cam. Check us out. Yeah, there you go. So these are the grub screws, and the really nice thing on here is that they've already got some of the Loctite stuff on here. So you don't have to worry about it, because the Loctite was really freaking messy. No matter how much I tried to kind of like keep it organized, it was just really messy. So it's nice, you don't have to do any of that stuff. And then they've got Bondtech original parts, which is awesome too. Let me go ahead and go back to the overview. They've got Bondtech original parts, which is cool. Not that I had issues with I think Triangle Labs is what I ordered, but it's still cool that it's OEM. We've got the bearings. We've got the long screws that are for the mini afterburner. We've got these for the belts. All the bearings, which this is what I screwed up with when I self-sourced it. I didn't order enough of these, so that's cool. You don't have to worry about that. Average Jat, awesome, man. Thanks for hanging out. Hopefully I'll see you, oops, hit the camera. Hopefully I'll see you next week when the build starts for this. I'm really looking forward to that. It's gonna be fun, and I'm just looking forward. We've got a little bit of the PTFE tube, which I believe this is gonna be for inside of the mini afterburner. There's a little bit of PTFE that acts kind of as a guide tube from where the filament enters and where it goes into the hot end. What's up, Marcus? What's the enterprise discount for an S5? I don't know, buddy. And then these are Gates belts, which is also a huge plus. I goofed on the first time I ordered them on my own, and they weren't Gates belts. So having Gates belts is really nice because they are much higher quality, and you know, this is a premium machine. There's no denying it. Like anyone, regardless of whether you're spending, you know, $650 on one of these kits or whether you're sourcing it like I did, it's not, you know, it's not a really low cost machine. Maybe I can build mine too during the stream. Oh, sick. Did you already get your kit, Average? Hey, did you go with an LDO? I'm sorry if you said it earlier. Oh, I don't want to lose this. Some tiny little set screws. Let me put these in the motion box. Okay, and then fasteners, tools, and miscellaneous, which I think they provide you with some really cool tools in here. I got the LDO one. Okay, nice. I know that DC has a LDO Voron 0.1, and he said he thought it would be cool if we could kind of build it at the same time, but I don't know if, there he is, Sam Tornado. I don't know if, I'm brain farting right now. Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna wait for me because since I'm probably not starting till Wednesday, I don't know if he can wait that long, but yeah, for sure. It would be cool if you've got one and you want to build along. Will be awesome. Maybe I'll be able to help answer some questions, or you know, you guys do the same. Okay, so inside here we've got the little magnets. That was one thing I will say, just looking at this count. This is, I think the only magnets you need, if I'm not mistaken, are for the door closing and opening. But when I ordered them, I got a ton of extra since I self-sourced, and it did come in handy because the mod I did, which was for the utility belt, it uses magnets on the hinge, and so I needed an extra like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But I mean, again, you can order some spare magnets, but you got the magnets. This is really nice. You've got a little drill bit, which is for the mini afterburner, if I'm not mistaken. I actually didn't use this on mine at all. And it was and has been a little bit tough to feed filament in sometimes. So this is to clear out the pathway for the filament. There's also this little guy, which is a, let me take it out maybe. I don't know how well you guys can see it. There's this guy as well, which is a little tool for your soldering iron for the brass inserts, which is just nice to have. There's quite a few different Allen keys. They provided, it looks like 3 of the smallest one because those strip very, very easily. I know that when I was initially building the original one, because I had to take out the little M2 screws so often, they did not last very long. So they throw in a couple of extra, and they also recommend you should probably have a better quality one. So I would recommend picking up an actual, you know, like hand tool versus a little Allen key. Need them for the Nevermore too, the magnets. Yeah, so I mean, granted, again, they're small magnets, but it would be cool if they included some more just because they're so common with some of the different mods, but regardless, they're really inexpensive if you do need to order them. Let's see. I already got that part printed too. Nice. Yeah, that'd be cool, DC. I think what it'll depend on is, let me see how much of next week's video I can get done between tonight and tomorrow. And based off that, I will schedule the stream this Sunday, and it'll either be for Monday or Wednesday. So we'll see. I'll try to let you know too. That way you have a heads up. And then we've got the tiny little feet. Then we've got the tape, which, what is it? A VHB. This stuff is insane. So this is actually, it's thinner than the stuff I bought. Well, I've actually got a lot of spare VHB from my build, so I might just use that. But this stuff's insane. This is what holds the Raspberry Pi, the Big Tree Tech SKR board, the power supply, everything in place to the panels. And I was a little bit concerned at first just because I thought, like, wow, this the power supply has a lot of weight to it. Dude, this stuff is incredibly strong, especially once you let it set for, I think, 24 hours, so it fully, like, the adhesive fully activates. This stuff is crazy. And I had never used this specifically prior to the Voron build, and since that, like, now when I'm thinking of solutions for things, like, this stuff always comes to mind because it's awesome. It's really good stuff. And then all of the hardware, which is at least much nicer. Is there, wow, it's actually like sealed. There's not a, let me open this up really quick here. Hey, John. Happy Friday, man. So I'm gonna dump these out in here and just show you guys. Okay, so LDO at least did a way better job than the stuff I sourced from AliExpress. All the screws, and I wish I'd kept them as is to show you guys, but all the screws I ordered from AliExpress for the first build were covered in grease, and they had no stickers on them. They were just Sharpie marking. And the grease, through traveling, mixed in with the Sharpie marking, and for a lot of them, I couldn't tell what the hell it was. It said like M something, but I couldn't really tell. So I had to measure on some of them and mark them after the fact. And so, although like this is really nice compared to what I sourced, but I still think that between now and either Monday or Wednesday, whenever we start the stream, everything is going inside of this. This is the little Voron tool organizer that I designed for this. There's 20 slots because there's 20 different hardware pieces that were in the BOM, and I'm gonna have them all labeled. Actually, it'd be cool if I could use these stickers, but I'm gonna make smaller labels and have them all inside here. Anybody that's building this, I highly recommend, if you don't want to print out one of these, because either you just don't want to print one or you don't have the filament or whatever reasoning is, at least get some kind of like an ice tray that you can have things labeled nicely, because that will save you a ton of time and a lot of headache. But again, huge plus to LDO for including stickers that make it easy to read. And then anyone that watched my final video knows that one of the biggest issues I ran into was that I had gone with the recommendation from somebody on these brass inserts, and the ones I ordered were M3, but they didn't have the correct outer diameter, and I didn't realize it until way later in the build, and it caused a ton of problems. So again, stuff that won't happen to you if you go with the LDO kit versus sourcing yourself. So I don't know, again, I will, I'm saying again a lot. I will go ahead and in the final video talk about all the differences between my experience building this and the self-sourcing aspect, but there's definitely a lot of pluses of going with a kit like this, especially this LDO one that seems to be just, you know, of the highest quality. I think that's everything. Yeah, that is the entire, that is everything. And I'm going to, as much as possible, keep things together. So like, I'm not gonna take out the tool head and motion stuff until we get to that part of the build, just because organization is so, I keep saying it, but organization is so important when you're building something like this, when there's just so many little pieces. I'm gonna throw all this stuff back in here. If anybody wants to look at something in here a little bit more, feel free to let me know. I can gladly take out some of the hardware again, but I feel like we spent, granted I did a lot of talking, but we spent an hour and 15 minutes going through it, and I feel like we covered most everything in pretty good detail. But yeah, I will be ready to rock and roll next week. And I think we'll do, as much as I can, we'll do most everything on stream, just so, you know, that way everyone can see sort of what it's like. And I'm also gonna take my time with it. I don't wanna rush it, because that's when I will make mistakes, which I'm anticipating mistakes will be made, like, especially with me trying to juggle, you know, a live stream. I'm gonna take my time on it. Like, I know that Nero built his in, I think it was like 8 to 10 hours, which is absolutely insane in just one sitting. I don't think that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna probably do frame one day, and then maybe motion system, then maybe wiring. Like, we'll definitely break it up into more bite-sizable pieces. So, but yeah, that's the LDO. This is the LDO Voron 0.1 kit, and again, huge thank you to Fabrico for sending it. I'm really excited. I had a lot of fun with the original Voron, and I am super excited to build this one. I got mine pushing plastic in 14 hours. Was that 14 hours you powering through it, or was that kind of going at a relatively simple pace? Is V0.1 a silent printer? I wouldn't say it's a silent printer, especially because of the speeds you're trying to push it at. Like, if you built it and wanted to print slow, then I would say, yeah, it's pretty damn quiet. I originally had Stealth Chop enabled on my Voron, and when I was doing Input Shaper and really trying to push it, it was causing all sorts of skip steps. And so I turned off Stealth Chop, which allowed it to print much faster, but the caveat to that is that it's also a lot louder now, and especially at the lower speeds, it's really whiny without Stealth Chop on. But once it picks up, it's not super loud. So I guess it just depends. It's not. I wouldn't say. It's tough to answer that, man. It can be quiet, but based off how and why people would be building one, I would say I wouldn't really consider it a very quiet machine. It was fun, but long time to be sitting. Yeah, I watched probably an hour-ish of it. Like, I kept jumping in, jumping out, but I can't, I am way too antsy of a person to, let's go back to big face cam. I'm way too antsy of a person to sit for that many hours straight. And all of the issues that I ran into on the Voron 0.1 build I did were after sitting for many, many hours and getting to the point where, like, I just was mentally drained, and I don't want to do that. I don't think it'll be fun for the stream, and I also just don't think it'll be a good idea for the sake of, having minimal problems. D. Randolph did his over the 4th of July weekend. Nice. Where do you download the organizer? It's on Things. Let's see here. I can drop it in chat for you as well. Nope. Nope. Typing is tough. Where are you? Just a note too on the organizer. So initially, like when you import this, I have it set up where the bottom is on the top. And when I printed my first one, which was for the initial build, I actually printed it like this, and it bridged without any problems. And then I tried again for the second one, and the bridging was a huge issue. So I actually printed it with like this part on the bottom, and You can add a little bit of support here if you want, but it's not really needed. Like, as long as you've got, 1 second. This is how it turned out. Actually, let me go big face. So if you, there's a little bit of a dip, like, you know, because it was sort of air printing slightly, but it prints fine like that. This is with it printing like in this position. And then initially I printed it like that. And the first, on the BQ-B1, it had no problem, but I printed it on this Creality Surmoon, and yeah, a lot of them just did not do the bridging well at all. So I ended up reprinting most of them. Yeah, let me go ahead. I'll drop this in the chat if anyone wants to print it. Let's see. Yeah, no worries at all. Decent pace, but I made a few mistakes. I think it's tough to not make a few mistakes. Have you done, I can't remember, Speedy, did you have another Voron, or was that your first Voron build? Speedy is the man and did it all on Discord in one sitting. Jesus, that's insane. Yeah, that's a long time. The, God, I did my first full kit build on stream 7 years ago, and it was, I think it was 8 hours, and then I found out that I was missing some of the parts from it. It was the Fulgurtech 2020 i3, and I had to run down to Ace Hardware, I think, and pick up some screws, and then I came back and streamed for another 3 hours, and I was so exhausted that when I got to the electrical and I was wiring in the electrical, I created fireworks. I did not realize that I had the power cable plugged into the outlet still, and the positive and the negative crossed, and it was terrifying. That was kind of the point, well, like, yeah, that was definitely the point where I told myself, like, if I'm doing electronic things, I will not do them when I am tired, because it will kill me. It was terrifying. I think I can find the, it'll take me a little while, but I can find the clip if you guys, I kind of want to turn it into like a GIF. I wish more people did simple part design videos and making things like this, how they included the Z logo, etc. Interesting. That's definitely something I can do. I don't describe myself, actually, so I wouldn't describe myself as like a good 3D modeler by any means, especially not pretty stuff, right? Like, so, for example, like my buddies Chelsea and Garrett over at Chaos Cortec do all sorts of like character models and stuff like that, and I can't do anything like that at all. And they're incredible. It's like, I think my understanding is it's almost like, I think a lot of what they do is like pulling clay, but in their CAD using ZBrush, and I think they use a tablet of sorts. All the modeling I do is in Fusion 360 as of now, and I'm sure if somebody that professionally did CAD design watched me work, they'd be like, yeah, that's not an efficient workflow. But I know enough to like get most of the jobs done that I need to get done. So like, I mean, things like this, this little cabinet, and then things like, so this Saturday's video is on the Wham Bam Mutant, right? And I had to make a couple of changes or adapters to be able to use it on the Elegoo Neptune 2. And so one of them was like this end stop housing. And this is basically a one-to-one with the stock end stop housing that comes on the Neptune. The issue I was having with the Mutant mod was that the new carriage backplate wasn't able to hit the end stop. And so I had to design, I designed this part, which again, I basically took my calipers. Most of the work was just measuring what the stock end stop housing looked like. And then all I did was scoot over these mounting points, I think maybe like 10 millimeters or so to the side, so that way the end stop could be triggered. So like stuff like this is no problem. And definitely, like, if there's interest, I'm happy to do some kind of streams where we do simple stuff like that. I'm sure people will critique me again, just because I will come out and say that, like, I don't think I'm a great CAD modeler in the grand scheme of things, but I think I know enough to be able to at least show people the basics, So yeah, Zen, if that's something that, if that is something there's interest in, then I am absolutely cool with doing some streams like that once we're done with this whole Voron series, maybe in between. First Voron build. Okay, so you were one of the crazy ones too, because I didn't. Oh man, this is really relaxing music. You guys hear this? I didn't. It's like put me to sleep. I didn't realize. I'm gonna switch it actually. It's so nice, but like after the stream when I'm gonna be laying down. I don't actually think this is Stream Beats anymore. It keeps doing that if I'm not. It's all right. We're gonna get, or it's probably, it's annoying because I think the stream's gonna probably get muted at some point then. But I actually didn't realize when I first saw the Voron 0.1, like it makes a lot of sense, but that it was gonna be the most complex of builds because of the fact that everything is super small. I just saw it as really cool, Core XY, really small. The design behind it looks fantastic. Fast printing speeds and good quality. Like those are the only things that I saw. It wasn't until like after I was already starting to source stuff and like then I started seeing in conversation like, oh, that's the most difficult build. And so knowing that and having like seen it through now, I'm curious to see what it would be like to build something like the Trident or the Switchwire or the 2.4, really any of the other ones. But yeah, I mean, the small element was definitely tricky as far as like the little M2 screws sucked, and just being able to get your hand in there to some of the angles to tighten things down was a little challenging, but super rewarding. If you see it through like you did, it's so rewarding. Modbot Electro, boom, yeah. No roll in T-nuts? No roll in T. What does that mean? Were the T-nuts? Did you not use the nut traps? Who? Someone was in here a second ago. Did you take off? Oh, I think Average. Yeah, Average took off. I just wanted to make sure if he was going to be following along that he printed out those nut traps for the small M3 nuts, because that's going to save a lot of time. I know that LDO shows, so let me show you guys one more thing. All right, 0.1. Is it here? I saw something the other day. Placing the controller, pre-wired. Huh. Oh, here we go. Okay, so nuts in 1515 extrusions. So they show that if you use those magnets that it comes with, you can magnetize your hex wrench, which will definitely help for sure. But also, I could also see that being annoying if the little M3 nuts are kind of sliding around when you don't want them to. But the mods, so here's one of them, where the nuts basically go into these little guys and then they don't slide back and forth. You basically set them and with the end of your Allen key into where you want them to be. Or there's another one, I haven't used these ones. I was talking to DC actually about these, and these I haven't used. I plan on printing these out just because they look simple, and I'm curious to see whether they're a little bit looser, because some of the other ones I printed out were a little bit tight in instances, but there's either these ones or printer mods. So I can find it. Search the word nut. No drop nuts. These have to be it. Yeah, these are the ones that I used initially. I went with these ones. And so the difference, one of the differences is that they have this little peg here. And so I think what might have been happening on mine was maybe there was a little bit extra extrusion on the sides here. And so when it was sliding in the rail, I really had to still put force into quite a few of them, which, you know, it wasn't a huge deal, but I am gonna try printing out the other ones just to compare and see if they're better. Oh, yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying, DC. Yeah, not being able to drop in the T-nuts is such a challenge. I'm curious, I'm gonna try. My goal, so I want to try to build it just based off of the actual official guide. For the initial my build when I was doing it off cam, that's my stream. Oopsies. I've showed this a couple of times, but it was so useful. Voron 0. It's me. There we go, Greg. So Greg, one of the most handy aspects of his Voron 0.1 playlist was that I kept second guessing myself, which rightfully so after the few mistakes I made early on, but he shows you, like, for every part, let me mute it so it's not loud, let me see. He shows early on in every part where to preload stuff. And so like, I would use the official guide, think that I had things done correctly, then look at what he did as just a like double checking everything. I'm gonna try to not do that for the live stream build, just because I wanna see like, if I just follow this guide, can I complete it successfully? Because I used external resources, and then we'll see how that goes. But yeah, for anyone that doesn't wanna do that, and you know, if you're looking to build it later on, oh, nice, randomness messes. I just built the kit, it's super nice. Since you just built it, what did you use as far as guides go? Did you use just the official guide, or did you use other, you know, external sources as well, like Nero's video, or, you know, this series of videos from Greg? You can use gravity and magnetism to trick the plain M3 nut into location, but I will definitely print the no drop nuts for my next one. Gotcha. Yeah, I just from the couple that there wasn't space for the no drop nuts, and me trying to like angle them around, I don't wanna. I'm definitely, that is the one thing that I'm saying is just, you've got to do it. Yeah, I forgot to preload some nuts. Oh God, yeah. One of my buddies that built it did the same thing. Had to take some parts apart. It's not very like, I don't really know that I have a much better solution, but in the guide, it's not super. Like the little circles that they have are not very straightforward sometimes. Just the official guide. The official guide has a few pages to check your work that will help you catch missing preloads. Gotcha, okay. I feel like I know what you're talking about. It's like when you do the idlers and the pulleys and stuff like that, it has you saying check your work to make sure that you've got everything lined up correctly. There's a couple pages like that. Official manual plus CAD, and looked at the LDO docs for a few things. Interesting. Do I have Fusion on here? Maybe I will also. I don't have Fusion on here. I was gonna say, because maybe I will also download the CAD files just to have as a reference, because that's not a bad thing. We'll see. I'm gonna start with just the official stuff, the official guide, and go from there. If for some reason we need it, then we'll do it. But I just want to see if I can do it, because it's a. You know, I use Sony resources for the first time and just want to see what it's like for someone that doesn't either know about them or just tries to use that simple guide. On that note, I think we might call it here pretty soon, guys. The main thing I want to do is go over the kit, which I'm super excited, and between now and either Monday or Wednesday, I will announce the stream, which will be either on Monday or Wednesday starting off. I'm gonna print the nut traps. I'm going to probably start printing the panel mounts once I measure the acrylic side and top hat pieces. And yeah, I think we'll be ready to rock and roll then. Unless there's anything else. If anybody else wants to see or has any questions, I will totally hang out for a little bit longer. But otherwise, I think I'm gonna figure out lunch and start working on the next studio project. I probably should have said this earlier too. I always forget till like towards the end of the stream, but if you have not, if you can like the stream, I really appreciate it. It definitely helps just to share the video and get more people over here for future streams. Awesome. Thanks for hanging out, Speedy. I appreciate it, man. Hopefully I'll catch you next week on Monday or Wednesday, and hopefully I know that on Wednesday, this last Wednesday when I streamed, a lot of people were saying that they didn't get notifications, so hopefully notifications work. But I'm saying it right now that if you don't get a notification, it'll be either Monday or Wednesday at noon Pacific Standard Time. We will go live starting the build. So just, you know, if you don't get the notification, maybe just check in and see what's going on. Cool. Well, I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend, and I will see you guys next week. Again, I said it a couple times, but huge thank you to Fabrico for providing the Voron LDO kit. They have been awesome. Hector, who runs them, Fabrico, has been absolutely awesome, and links will be down below in the description if you want to check out the kit or pick up one for yourself. And they've also got a bunch of other really cool mods there as well. All right, DC, I'm glad you were able to catch today, man. And yeah, bye everybody. I will see you guys Monday or Wednesday, and we will start assembling this new Voron. I'm looking forward.